Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome back to yet another video. So as you guys can see on screen right here, we just unlocked a brand new seasonal boss in the Dream Realm section. And this boss might be familiar to some of you guys and might be foreign for those new players. And he's none other than Orson. So just a little bit of TLDR. Orson is one of the boss in the Song of Strife season, which you guys will be able to encounter through the story mode for those of you guys who are new to the game. For those of you guys who are in the Song of Strife season, you guys probably seen him before. I'm not going to mention about the story to spoil for others, but he's back once again with some slight modifications to his kit. And in today's video, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through his skill kit, and then I'm going to do a simple gameplay, as well as take a look at some of the formations shared by the other players right there. Okay, so without further ado, before I start, if you guys are asking me for the best builds, best units, best combination for this boss, I will say this. Okay, with regards to the boss's mechanics, the numbers as well as the mechanics are still subjected to change, so we will wait until the actual release of the boss on the global server before we release those Z-Best Dream Realm boss guides moving forward. Okay, so stay tuned for that. And as a disclaimer, as usual, all these things, they are not confirmed yet, or they might still be subjected to change. Okay, so let's start with Orson's skill kit. Ultimate Piercing Impact. Orson throws several giant spears forward every 20 seconds after a battle starts, knocking back all enemies along a 3-tile wide path 1 tile, which is a simple pushback, and dealing 250% damage. If Orson is in a rage state, his spear will knock down all enemies and do 320% damage. So a very simple reposition and AoE damage, but the damage number is really big. So I foresee this ability hitting really hard the later level you go with regards to this boss itself. So that's for Orson's ability. So Ultimate Piercing Impact. So the leveling skill or the rage skill is Warrior's Pride. At the start of the battle, Orson enters a frenzied state, gaining all 5 stacks of Fury and an additional 50 haste. Each stack of Fury reduces the damage Orson takes by 10%, and Orson will exit the frenzied state if he loses all stacks of Fury, and he will re-enter once all Fury stacks are restored. So once you get all 5 stacks on him once again, he will get back to this state. Orson is not affected by any interrupt effects applied to him, but he will lose a stack of Fury for every 2 seconds an interrupt effect lasts. Okay, so I think what it means, or what this part of his skill means, is that you can apply a control effect on Orson, but he won't be controlled by your effect because he is unaffected, but this control effect will actually cause him to lose Fury stack. So I guess that's what it means. So you kind of want to have some sort of, I would say, like control effect to sort of reduce his Fury as much as possible so that you can do maximum damage. Okay, his Fury stacks will be restored in 10 seconds. So his Fury stack will restore automatically, and increase in levels increases the values of the damage reduction as well as all the other stuff on the buff itself. So that's for the Warrior's Pride. The Fury stack is also inside his second skill, Impale Strike. Orson lifts the nearest enemy with the spear, then throws them at the area with the most enemies. Upon collision, he deals 160% damage to the lifted enemy and nearby enemies within 1 tile, stunning the lifted targets for 3 seconds. Okay, so this is a simple control and repositioning skill. Next, if there are other enemies in adjacent tiles, Orson deals damage to them. Otherwise, he gains Fury stack time too. So it's either you want to have as many units crowding Orson as possible so that you always have enemies around him to prevent him from gaining the Fury stack, or right, if your team is a lot more frail, you kind of want to just let him deal Fury stack and not do the damage to your team. So I think this is something which we are still experimenting. Not gonna say too much about it, but I think building melee team should be the way to go based on this ability itself. So that's for Orson right here. And then the third skill, Grimoire Fury. Orson swings his claws, dealing 120% damage to all enemies within the frontal radius of the arc. So this is a very simple AoE damage skill, and that's all for Orson's kit. Okay, so before I start running through the abilities or the gameplay of this boss, we're going to run through some team formations shared by the other players right here. So we have one SARS Inspector right here, difficulty 2, 488 million. So right here, we have our Lenya as well as the main carry, right, together with the banner artifact right here. So frontliner artifact, it's a full frontliner team, backed up by the support of Mikola as well as Reina, with the debuff of Kruger, as well as the buff from Shakir as well. So this is one of the teams. This is the team that I'm using right here. Later on, I'll showcase the gameplay. There are other team recommendations such as Atraxi right here that runs Lily May, which is one of the DPS powerhouses. So this is for Atraxi. Okay, Lily May with 170 million, matching that of Lenya. So that is also with the frontline spell over here. So we also have a little bit of your old school action with Freyasto over here. So this is Freyasto with Smokey. Okay, one thing that I want to mention with regards to this new season is that Smokey is actually seeing like a lot less use with regards to the different game modes, which is something that I appreciate. So Smokey right here is still a good unit, okay, but I think specifically for Orson, he's not that good because Orson has a whole bunch of control knockback which can interrupt his channeling skill, which is why you know, Smokey teams in general, they are not in the top ranking or the top numbers right here, but this is the different unit recommendation. So pretty standard stuff in terms of the more meta Dream Realm characters, but we have some variations with the introduction of Lenya right here. So without further ado, let us hop into the gameplay and run through what are the kit for this boss. So based on the replays of other players, this is the arrangement that I'm currently using. Like I mentioned, this might or might not be the best team, so there is still a lot of optimization to be done, but this is pretty much the team that I'm running right now for my damage. So pretty contented with my score, although the ranking doesn't really matter. It's because it's more for just testing stuff and getting the most optimal builds out there in terms of the runs. So for the past few days, I've been trying out different builds, trying out the different artifacts to get the best damage. So these are the results for the past few days, which are the base Dream Realm side, and we just unlocked the seasonal Dream Realm, as you guys can see, where we get this seasonal Dream Realm icon. So now let's run through the gameplay for Orson, and in the next few days I'll probably talk about the other bosses if there's anybody new released for the Waves of Intrigue season, or if there's any new mechanics to be introduced. So first of all, right, this is the units. I mean, these are the units which I talked about just now. So supports, debuffer, as well as Lenya being the carry. So without further ado, let us start this battle. Okay, we'll go at one time. So this is Orson with the Fury ability. So this is the second skill where he lift up one of the non-immune target and then throw it to the area with the most enemy and then stun them for a little bit. Okay, so based on the animation itself, as you guys can see, as Lenya is kicking Orson, we get this very spiky animation. So I think that should be intended because that could be a kicking animation from Lenya. Based on what I can see from this boss itself, I'll say the more important part of the boss kit is to prevent the boss from gaining too much Fury stack, because that will reduce your damage greatly. In terms of the AoE damage dealt by the boss, because we are still at the lower tier itself, I think the damage is not that impressive yet, but like I mentioned, we are still at a common 2 tier, so the later we go, the harder the boss hit, and then we might have to focus more on surviving instead of debuffing or dealing damage. So right here, this is how the boss looks like. So Reina doing Reina stuff, Mikola, Shakir, as well as Kruger doing the usual stuff, and then Lenya right here is a very surprising addition in terms of the carry, because I knew that Lenya was able to do massive damage, but I think it has something to do with the boss's kit, which I don't know how to explain yet, that allows Lenya to perform exceptionally well. If there's anyone in the comment section or anyone watching this video which would like to enlighten me, right, feel free to DM me or drop me a comment in the video down below. Okay, for those of you guys who are watching this as a passerby to understand more about what's to come with the Dream Realm side of things, let me know what you guys think about Orson right here, what you think about his animation, what you think about his kit, as well as the potentially reshuffling of some of the meta teams moving forward. So that's pretty much it for this video, right? Just a very simple introduction for our dear Orson right here. So damage distribution with Lenya being the main carry. So you guys know whether or not you want to go for Lenya, and that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in. Do remember to like and subscribe to see more. See you guys again in my next video. Bye guys.